Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Burning Rubber Podcast. I am your host, Jake Scarbrough, and right now we've had tons of events going on in the racing world. It's been a while since we've had the first episode. This is being the second one, and it's been months. And there's so much news going around, and I'm here to deliver it all. Some of it is old, some of it is new, but let's break it down. F1 just had their first race this past weekend at Austria, having their next one, I think, this weekend or next at Austria as well. But the silly season has already started for F1 as it's been confirmed Fernando Alonso returning to Renault after winning a championship with them years back. He hasn't been in the sport, and here he is. He's coming back to F1 racing for Renault, and this is what a lot of people wanted. Another thing, Carlos Sainz going to Ferrari. Then you have Sebastian Vettel confirming he will not be with Ferrari for the 2021 season. Where will he go? No one knows as of right now. You also have Daniel Ricciardo going to McLaren, replacing Carlos Sainz. So that was a major move, especially with Sainz going to Ferrari. But something that Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc should be worried about is Ferrari going to be a top competitor team throughout this season and maybe next? Because the times they put up at Austria, the pace they put up at Austria was not good at any means. Charles Leclerc barely able to pull the podium out and get a second place there. And then the issue with Lewis Hamilton and Alex Albon, 2 times now where Albon's been spun out by Lewis Hamilton for a podium finish. But Lando Norris, just like last time, Carlos Sainz for McLaren got the podium at Brazil because of Lewis Hamilton's penalty. Turns out this time it was his teammate Lando Norris who got his first ever F1 podium and the fastest lap on the final lap of the race, clearly driving his tail off on the final lap. Other news in F1. F1 just announced earlier tonight that F1 is set to make their debut at Mugello later this season. This is big news, especially with everything going on. They have to put a new track that they've never raced at before. None of these guys know what's going to happen there. It's all going to come down to practice, qualifying, and the race itself. Who comes out on top there, no one knows yet, but it's going to be set up to be great. In other news, we had the triple header last week. On Saturday, we had the IndyCar Indianapolis GP. That was race 2 of their season, where Scott Dixon was able to win. And then following that, the first ever Xfinity, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, went to the Indianapolis road course. They shared the track, and boy, what a finish that was. Then Chase Briscoe coming out on top in the end as an amazing 4-car battle between Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, AJ Allmendinger, and Noah Gragson. That was a beautiful race to watch, and then we had the Kentucky race last night. I didn't get to watch personally, and all I heard afterwards was Justin Allgaier has been taken to a hospital, so thoughts go out to him and his family. We hope to see him on the track next race, as just last week he was subbing for 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson in the Cup Series at the Indianapolis Oval. Sorry about that. He subbed from there because Jimmy was diagnosed with the COVID-19, the coronavirus. So glad to see he's back out on track this weekend at Kentucky, and maybe he can get his first win of the season. But that's big news there right at itself. And then for people watching that, or listening, that is, that are into the video games, F1 2020 NASCAR Heat 5, both just came out on the same day. They just came out today, actually, and that's very good news for a lot of the fans of the sport who want to take part in it. I only have F1 2020 right now. That is a very good game. I suggest it to people who like playing the games and all that. It's a very good game. The My Team's great, but as a side note, we go into Irwindale for the K&N race. I believe it was Jesse Love who won that. It's interesting to see how the ARCA series is now, how it's got its Pro Division, the East and West. It's very confusing, to say the least. But yeah, so far the quote-unquote Pro Division, I guess you could say, the one that isn't an East or West conference, going into football terms. That one hasn't been putting on the great races everyone was thinking it normally does. Normally everyone's like, oh, the ARCA races are going to be wreckfest. They're going to be great. And, I mean, they haven't done... I mean, props to them. They've been having a great year when it comes out to straight-on racing, no cautions. I mean, they've had a few, but you expect that in racing. But it's been an overall decent season. A lot of fans will disagree with that, considering they like seeing the ARCA races with crashes. But it's been pretty interesting to say the least. Michael Self currently leading the points by 12 over Hailie Deegan. And can Michael Self pull out the championship, or can the rookie win that one? In other news, with the Xfinity race that happened just last night with Justin Allgaier being taken to the hospital, that was Austin Cindric's first ever oval win coming at Kentucky. Such a great moment for him, knowing that he's a what you'd call road course ringer. He's won at Watkins Glen, Mid-Ohio. Now he finally gets Kentucky under his belt, and that's just more to the resume. And hopefully we can see him in the Cup Series maybe next season if we build up the silly season like everyone's predicting. Brad Keselowski going to the 48. Nothing's been confirmed, but that is a major rumor, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin Cindric go to that 2 car next year. And then the Cup race, the NASCAR Cup Series race at Indianapolis last Sunday, that was a pretty interesting race. You had Denny Hamlin leading and then throwing that late race caution because his right front blew. He went right into the wall, and Kevin Harvick was able to come out on top because of that. But that race was pretty intense, seeing as Harvick and Hamlin were up there in front all race. At least one of them who was up there was able to win, but you never know. We could have had someone pull a strategy or two. 2011 memories with Paul Menard saving enough fuel to beat Jeff Gordon to the line and win. But that people complain about the Indianapolis race. I have no problem with it because typically it comes down to either strategy calls or whoever's the fastest at the end of the day, and that's what you're supposed to see in racing. You're not supposed to see people go out there and just wreck the cars. That's thousands and millions of dollars down the drain, and the fans want to see the wrecks, but they're not out there to wreck. They're out there to race for the win, and that's what a lot of fans don't understand. And that's what catches me off guard, because people say the Indianapolis race for NASCAR sucks, when actually it's a good race, so I don't know about that. And something I haven't mentioned besides the one comment with Scott Dixon winning the Indianapolis GP. Scott Dixon winning both races this season. We could see another championship run within him, considering both the Penske driver, two of the Penske drivers, that is, Joseph Newgard and Will Power, got the poles for both those races. But their races didn't turn out the way they wanted them to, and Scott Dixon's come out on top. Can Scott get 3 in a row? I'm trying to find the schedule right now. The next race is July 11th at Road America, then followed by July 12th, the doubleheader there. And then you also have July 17th and July 18th, doubleheader at Iowa. And those have seemed like tracks where Scott Dixon won't have the best car, but as he's performed right now, he's got a championship run going, and that will be interesting to say the least, considering St. Petersburg, now the season finale, not Laguna Seca, which will be doing a doubleheader weekend September 19th and 20th, then followed by the Indianapolis Road Course, which will be the race 2, and then St. Petersburg on October 25th. So it's going to be interesting to say the least, especially with the pandemic going on, affecting everyone's daily lives, but also affecting the sports and scattering the schedule. And that's one thing that caught a lot of people off guard. You're getting tracks in random combinations. And another big news I forgot to mention, well, I have a few seconds to wrap it up. Daytona Road Course being put on the NASCAR schedule in a few weeks, or next month. I don't remember when it was, but it did get announced. So we won't have to wait till the Clash next year. But anyways, that will have to do for this episode. I'll see you guys next Wednesday, actually. So everyone have a good week, and I'll see you there next Wednesday.